Hey, what do? Nephew? Is that what the kids be saying nowadays? Is that what the hip kids be saying? So how is everyone doing? It is a early weekend AMA on Thursday because I have a pretty adventurous weekend. I'm not gonna have time, um, and I always like to show up, do a little something for the peeps. What I'm trying to say is I'm very distracted looking at stuff. Is I am here every week for you, and and you should subscribe and follow and all that good stuff. So that's what's going on. How you guys doing? It's another weekend AMA, minus the weekend. So I want to talk a little bit about networking, a little bit about reaching out. So a lot of times people think networking is just about meeting people, like reaching out and say, hey, I'm interested in, a lot of times people with networking think it means like your coworkers, your current space. That's not always the case, right? You may not have a network yet, and you're saying, damn, Dylan, if I don't have a network, how can I network, Dylan? Well, one thing that you can do is just reach out. One thing you can do is go to meetups. One thing you can do is talk to people. One thing you can do is send messages to developers on LinkedIn. Case in point, got a message today from a recent bootcamp grad. It's been saying, hey, I see that you're a developer at this company. They have an opening. I'm very interested in the position. Would you mind having a chat about it? I'm leaving work. I got 30 minutes of traffic. Hit back. Sure. Let's chat about it. Here's my number. Call, have about a 15-20 minute conversation. I give some advice on how to go from that recent bootcamp grad to that working junior dev. I give some advice on how to just do the things that I did that allowed me to get my first foot in the door. And then I said at the end of it, you know what? I know we have an intern program for other aspects of the company, but I don't know about devs. But you know what? Send me your resume. Send me your cover letter. I'll pass it off to my boss. Maybe he's been thinking about having interns. I know we do it for other parts of the company. Let's see what we can do. That's as easy. Something may happen of it, and this individual may go and become an intern. Something may not. But the point I'm trying to make is that if you don't have a network, go get a network. Go send messages. She probably sent the last 15 people easily that message at companies she's interested in. But what happened? She got one person that's like, hey, yeah, sure, I remember what it's like to want that first dev job. I remember that the hardest part of being a developer is getting that first dev job. That's what I remember, and I can relate. Maybe I can help out, and maybe a win-win situation for everybody, right? So let that be a reminder to those of you that are getting going and saying, I don't know anybody. Oh, it's so hard to get your first job. It is. But at the same time, what else are you gonna do? You're just gonna not do it? So keep that in mind as you're out there, you're grinding. That be creative, get your hustle on, and you never know what may happen. So I think you should collaborate with Josh. I'm going to. I was in his live stream. He said we should. Immediately followed by like, I don't care either way. Maybe we shouldn't. Which made me want to do it even more. No, yeah, I'm gonna collaborate. We're gonna collaborate. We're gonna bring two great minds separate together in a non-phallic way. Yeah, no, I don't know what we're gonna do. I haven't reached out to him, but I'm open to it. He's open to it, and that seems to be about all it takes. But yeah, I'm probably gonna ask to have him on the channel and vice versa. go on his channel, and we'll shoot the shit. We can do something. But yeah, I'm the thing about like collaborating is I like to collaborate on channels I'm fans of, and it makes it a lot easier. I'm fans of a lot of channels, so I'm happy to collaborate with a lot of people. And I'm particularly a fan of his because he keeps it 100. As Ray J would say, keeps it one. Let me see if I 100. All right. Josh is a very honest guy, and he sees the world in the correct light, which is equally as important. There's plenty of honest people giving awful advice, you know, because they think it's good advice, but it's bad. Josh sees the world as it is, understands what it takes to succeed, and and he sees it that way. And we see it very similarly, so maybe we're both wrong, but I don't think so. Yeah, I like Josh. Him and I will definitely one of these times. I've just been slowly getting my rhythm back together with the YouTubes. 2 videos this week. I haven't put out 2 videos in about 6 months. So we stepping our game back up, boys. I'm feeling pretty good, man. There's something about quitting a job that was making you miserable that makes you feel a lot better, and all of a sudden you got a lot of energy to continue and grow your passion. Like, that's the thing. Is like, why just be miserable at a job? I'll never be miserable again at a job, not for a week. So go and be miserable for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, what happens? Well, you stop putting out less content. You start putting out less content on YouTube because you're tired, you're drained, you're unhappy. Things you used to enjoy, like coding on side projects, building little things, you don't enjoy anymore because you're so mentally drained. You just need to withdraw. You can't recharge. Never again. So I feel good. Getting pumped to quit your current job? Hey, there's nothing like writing a resignation letter, you know. Like, because you always got it. You're like, to whom it may concern. That's how you write a proper. I think I already did a video about writing a proper resignation letter. And you go, to whom it may concern. My last day will be 2 days from this for this position. You put in some fluff. I've enjoyed my time at insert company name and proud of the work that I've been able to do. Next line. Thank you for the opportunity, and I wish insert company the best. Sincerely, insert name. Just type that out with a big smile on your face. And you got a big smile because either 1, you got a fat check. 2, you got out of a bad situation. Or 3, you got both. You got the biggest Joker-looking smile on your face as you're writing. Oh, man. Do you get more opportunities to design on the front end than you do the back end? It's always going to depend on the role. It's always going to depend on the organization. It's one of those things where, depending on the size of your team and depending on the size of the company, you may. A lot of times in the front end, have you read some front end? Some front end roles will say, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, front end framework, some testing, and then they'll just go ahead and throw in, SQL, C#, .NET front end. No, it's not a front end role. That's a full stack role. Anyhow, what I'm trying to say is that depending on the company, you may or may not be giving more leeway. The reason for that is maybe you have a UI UX guy. If you have a UI UX guy, that's his domain. He's going to tell you how to design it. Maybe in the front end, you might be a little bit of the UI UX guy, and they sort of merge those roles together. Maybe they don't really care. If it's a back office tool, a lot of times they don't care. It's client facing when they care. So. Can I suggest one language to start with? I think JavaScript is pretty solid of a language. I think it's very beginner friendly. I think that it can do a lot, and it's I want to say it's the #1 language. Do I invest my money into anything on the side? Currently, not anymore. I was speculating in crypto, I should say, and I was investing in stocks. And so but before I bought the house, I sold stocks. Now I just spend money on the house. What I mean by that is I've only put 3% down on my house, and because I didn't have enough for 20%, so I've been slowly building my way to 20%. So every month I have about $3,000 of extra income. And what I mean by that is money that exceeds my cost of living. Sometimes 5,000 if it's been a really good month, but things have been slow and bad. But let's just say on average about 3,000 to 3,500. And what I do with that is I go and I put it towards the mortgage. So every month I'm putting about 2,500, I would say, of that excess money towards the mortgage. And the reason for that is it's shifting the interest I'm paying every month, and I want to get to the 20% sooner because it drops what's called private mortgage insurance, which essentially means that your broke ass didn't put 20% down, so you have to insure the loan on top of what you have there. And what that will do is when we hit that 20%, it will drop the $250 or $270 private mortgage insurance off. Now I'm paying, but that's what I'm throwing my money at. So when I hit the 20%, I'll get rid of that, and then after that, I'll probably be buying real estate property. I've been looking into quite a bit of real estate properties that are about $100,000, single family homes, but I'm leaning towards duplexes. What I might do is just do a turnkey single family home or duplex in the $100,000 to $150,000 range, and I'll put 20% down on that, which will take me about seven, depending on if it's 100 or 150. Will take me between 7 to 12 months to save, and in the meantime I'll probably put that in stocks or something like that. So my game plan for investment is real estate, though. The reason for it is housing, for one, counters inflation, which can happen at any time, and two, I think you have a larger profit margin than you would on other aspects. I won't say that I'm not going to invest in stocks, but my next big investment is not stocks. It is a rental property, maybe a single family home, maybe a duplex. Do you need to be proficient in data structures, algorithms apply for junior developer jobs? It depends on the organization. Depends on if you're doing front end or back end. Doesn't hurt though. I'm glad you like the free code camp stuff. I'm glad it helped. Do you think the need for developers will go down in the future with stuff being more automated / simplified? No, not at all. I think tech's just growing so fast that everyone acts like it's going to die. There's still a deficit of developers, good developers, I should say. We were just talking about it today at work about how hard it is to find a quality dev, and like, I know no one believes me. Because you know how I know? Because I didn't believe people before I was interviewing candidates. Where you go through 100 candidates, phone calls, doesn't matter, and you ask them basic questions. You're a front end dev, great. It's one thing if you're like recent boot camp grad, you feel like you're a recent boot camp grad, you don't have the industry experience, you're just still getting rolling. Completely understand. You may not know some questions, but you're getting there. You're just getting your feet wet interviewing. You don't even know what you need to study yet, whatever. But when you have 5 years experience and you 5 years front end full stack experience, and you show up and we're like, yo, what's the difference between const and let and var? What does async await do? What does a promise? You say, yo, how do you handle responsive design natively in CSS? And you don't know these things with 5 years experience. They come in and you ask them to do a FizzBuzz type whiteboard problem, and they completely crumble. Literally had one person say that they don't really use for loops all that often. They couldn't remember the syntax. What? Like, that's like me saying, you know what, man? I don't really write by hand anymore. I forgot how to write a letter A. I forgot how to write ABC. I could type it though. I could type it. Just take my word for it. I could type it, but I don't remember what ABC looked like all that well. Are you, who do you think you're talking to, Bo? Well, what? And by the way, this is after they've gone through the tech. They've Googled. So here's the thing: is most technical interviews, you can Google the top 20 questions and you'll be fine. As long as you understand the concepts, you answer them. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. But that's what I'm telling you guys, man. You put in the work, you keep growing, you keep moving forward. It'll be fine. Yeah. I don't know. It's a lot harder to get a job nowadays, isn't it? I don't know if it's harder to get a job or not. I can get a job just fine. I mean, I don't know. It's hard if you're here's the thing. Get good, get great, get better. All right? Like, that's it. If you get good, you'll get a job. You get great, you'll get a great job. You get better, you'll be on top. All right? So, get good, get great, get better. All right? You get good, you're better than 80%. You get great, you're better than 90%. You get better, you stay in the 90%. So, I'm starting my first dev job on the 4th of March. Any tips? Yes. Plan for the next 3 months. Your whole job is to keep your job. And what I mean by that is that you need to, when you go home, you need to study all the technologies you're not familiar with. If you're working with Angular, you're going to go do the 22-hour Angular course on Udemy. You never done Jasmine testing before? You're now doing the Jasmine course on Udemy. And you're building projects and you're getting familiar with everything. I'm working through a 22-hour Vue.js course right now. So this is your job for the next 3 months, is to make sure you keep your job, you get good. That's it. So yeah, that's my suggestions. Also read Clean Code, the Clean Coder. Links in the description. I highly encourage you to get going. Do you recommend free code camp for total beginners? Code Academy, free code camp, combine them both, jump between the two, do it all. But yeah. During that 3-month period of learning extra technologies, do you document that and show it to your manager as proof? So one thing that you can do is, sometimes managers will meet with you on a monthly or a weekly basis. That's your opportunity to talk about it. That's your opportunity to elaborate. And it becomes very apparent if you've been doing it or not. So it will be apparent, and you'll probably talk about it. You're like, oh, I learned this cool thing the other day. You'll talk about it. They'll see it. So I wouldn't say that you need to go about flaunting it. You're not there to flaunt that you're putting extra time in. This is what's expected. Do you understand? It's expected that when you get your foot in the door, that you're going to. They understand they're giving you a slight ramp up period, but your goal, 3 months is the max. Your goal is to be up and running in a month. All right. That's your goal. You come home from the first day, you don't say, oh man, I'm just going to take a day. I'm just take a breath. No, none of that. Go study. Go study the things that you sort of know, and go study things you don't know. You need to be a professional. A professional gets proficient. A professional, you know what the difference between myself as a professional and perhaps a aspiring junior developer is that it takes me 1/5 the amount of time to deliver a better quality product than most. So that's your job. Your job is to go from that 1/5 down to about 1/2. And to do that, you have to understand what tools you have available and how to utilize those tools. That is your job. So that's what you need to do. You need to go and get better. And you have to study these things because you're not going to be as proficient in them as you want. You know why it takes me 1/5 the amount of time to do it as someone who just got out of a boot camp? Because I have hundreds of hours doing it professionally. They pay me. I sit here in a chair 8-9 hours a day and I code it. And outside, not even counting outside of work, 40 hours a week, easy. Let's say 35 because of meetings. 30 if you have a lot of meetings, 25 if you have even more meetings. But I'm there every week, every day, doing it, getting better, growing, mastering, knowing what tools are at my disposal. It's a 3-month testing period contract. The only reason you have those is because a lot of times people show up and they suck, and then they have to cut them, and it just makes it easier for everybody. So as long as you're competent, they're going to hire you. When you worked in an office environment, what kind of desk space did you have? Did you have a cubicle, or was it a bunch of desks next to each other? Does the boss sit on the throne and watch you? No, I've never had a boss sit on the throne and watch me. I've oftentimes worked on the same team as my boss. My last 2 companies. Now my boss is the CTO, so we're essentially on the same team, but he doesn't code too much. So usually it's not cubicles. Most of the time you're gonna have an open work environment. How did I end up in LA? I'm not in LA. I was born and raised in Southern California. I spent the last 28 years in California. Now I'm in Florida. Speaking of that, I just had a buddy who was left California because how expensive it was. I just found out today. He left California, went to someplace in Oregon, doing great, got a promotion, bought a house. All things that the house never would have bought a house in. He's not like a developer. He makes a standard income. I don't know what he makes, but I'm sure he's not making like 150K. Got his just left. Said shit, this is too expensive. Went and got himself a house. Living the dream, doing exactly what I would have done. What I did. I just didn't go to Oregon. I went to Tampa, and so yeah. However important are projects compared to raw coding skills, they typically go hand in hand. The thing that you notice and why people can't do FizzBuzz problems is because they don't code. They don't code outside of work. They never did. They never enjoyed it. Never learned. They never got good. They faked it long enough so that they could make it. You know what I mean? 12-month boot camp. Jesus. It's exciting, but 12 months is a solid amount of time, man. No joke. You learn some. If you have the right instructor and you have the right mentality, you can go from 0 to hero in 12 months. You're my student for 12 months? Whew. You look like you've lost some weight. I have. I don't know how much, but so I've stopped eating out lunches for the last 3 weeks. April makes me some food. It varies. Usually it's something pretty healthy. It's like meat, rice, and vegetables. But also what you're seeing is happy. I'm happy. I'm not stressed. What happens to people when they get stressed? They stress eat. They start holding on to weight. But yeah, I'm happy. I start exercising a little bit. Nothing crazy. I've been doing like 10-minute workouts, 2 days on, 1 day off, and I'm slowly increasing the time. But I'm feeling good. This is me good. Yeah. First real vacation in 3 years. Good for you, man. I was looking for I was talking to April for 3 weeks about taking a 1 week cruise. I was so excited, guys. So excited. I was like, yeah, this and that. And she just started keeping her mouth shut. And then I send her 3 links. So I said, baby, I'm buying the cruise tonight. Choose one of these three, whichever one you want. I was gonna get the suite. It would have been triple the price. We were gonna get a suite. It was gonna be baller. It was gonna be boss. All right. I was gonna have a good old time. And then she hits me with the, baby, I didn't think you were really serious, and I don't want to leave the puppy for a week, and he's so young, and this and that. I don't think we should go on the cruise. I ain't going no more, man. I was ready. Talked to the boss man. I said, "Hey, I'm thinking of taking a cruise the next 4 to 10 weeks. When's a good time to go?" And he's, just want to make sure I clear out if there's any bad days because I don't really care. I'm just going, baby. So yeah. If you actually study 5 to 6 hours a day, could you start applying this December? If you actually study 5 to 6 hours a day and have direction, you could start applying in like September and be very proficient. How many languages have you mastered? Probably one. JavaScript, if I want to say mastered. Yeah. The Arnold Schwarzenegger of code. Pumping those gains, son. Is there a premium for back-end salaries compared to front-end? It all depends. I would say that, I'm gonna get some water. I would say that by and large, back-end developers will make slightly more than front-end developers, and full-stack developers will make slightly more than back-end developers. But what really will determine it is how good you are and how proficient and what a professional level developer you are. So like, I would say don't really worry about it. Like an extra 15 grand if you go full stack versus front end isn't going to be the end of the world. But when you are when you're a quality developer, you'll make 50%, 40% more than market rate. Like the market rate for a front end dev in Tampa is like 75K. I make 110. So like don't just get good and you'll do just fine. Hot puppers. So like that's what I'm saying. Like what I'm trying to tell you is just no bonuses. No bonuses on the schedule, I should say. You never know when a bonus may come. But yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Is like get good at what it is that you're interested in. I just happen to like front end because a lot of moving parts and it's one of those things. Come on up. Oh, say hi to the YouTubes. Oh. So yeah, like that's what I'm trying to tell you is you can go and get a solid salary if you just get good. Like don't worry about like, oh well, the average full stack developer makes 10K more than the average front end developer. The average good developer makes 40K more than the average bad developer. So worry about that first, right? That's my suggestion. So with that being said, is that what I have found happening is that I typically get all my front end work done before the back end, and you end up just diving in the back end anyhow. So like I've currently sort of started picking up a little bit of C# and .NET at my current work, as I was planning on doing. And the main issue I have is I don't fully understand the database schema and the structure, and my SQL isn't the strongest. Hey. So that's the main issue. It's not even like like I have to definitely review REST standards and things like that. But you know, APIs are easy, right? All you have to do once you have the data coming from where it is you want, you have to define your query, figure out how to connect the data, and then you just have to send it to the front end in a way that they want. Ow, grr. Hey, stop it. Hey. All right, get out of here. Come on, Gator. Gator, go. Hey, baby, call Gator. All right, good boy. But yeah, so that's what I'm up to. Any collab with Josh? You guys really want Josh and I to collab? It's gonna happen. Him and I haven't. One of us will reach out. Probably me. I'll hit him up. You've been my main inspiration to start coding self-studying from April last year. Looking for a job now. Thanks so much. You're here. I appreciate that, man. Good luck to you. You say what you're interested in to someone new in the industry. What could they possibly be interested in? Well, my question to you is, well, why'd you come? You just came for the money? That's not a great long-term plan. I mean, what do you enjoy? Did you say, hey, I want to build web applications? Hey, I want to build mobile applications? Do I expect you to have that answer on day one? Of course not. You're just running around with your shit in your hand. You don't know what you're doing. That's okay, man. You're still learning. But by the time that you have a thought of becoming a developer and you've defined a plan, in that plan, you've defined which direction you're going to go, how you're going to go. There's different levels of the learning process. There's different avenues. There's different pieces. Like day one, you go, hey, what's a Boolean? And it's like, I don't know what a Boolean is. Day two, maybe you know what a Boolean is. Day three, maybe you know that there's web applications and there's mobile applications and there's desktop applications. Maybe you don't, but at some point you do. And by the time that is a reality, you've now moved to a point where you can have a decision about what the best path is for you. Do you need to have a deep love from the start? I wouldn't say you need to have a deep love from the start, but it definitely helps. C# or Java? I mean, I would learn C# over Java. Is there any industry standard website to use for applying for web dev jobs? I mean, I just use LinkedIn. LinkedIn's sort of my go-to. How long is my commute? About 30 minutes with no traffic. Do you ever make stuff in Canvas? Not really, no. Canvas is one of those things where that is a whole different world. Do I understand the basics of it? Yeah. Do I need to work with it? No. I haven't really had any chance to touch it. The only time I've had to work with it was I needed to take an icon. That was a SVG icon, if I remember correctly, and I had to modify it so that it dynamically had a cart item in it. That was the last time I worked in it. And so essentially what it did was there was a, like that circle that would be on like a bag. Like you have 3 items in your bag. It was there if there was an item in the bag with a dynamic number, and it wasn't when there was no items. So that was the last time I worked. I think last and honestly, God, probably only time I worked about it. Why did you train as an EMT? Was that a serious career option? I mean, we're talking about a decade ago, but it was, yeah. So back when I was about 20, I was considering, I was looking at what's out there. This was before I chose computer science, and I spent about a year in college and doing my general ed. And I was just like, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to go become a firefighter. I read up on sort of the hours. You get a lot of days off. You can work overtime, this and that. And part of that path of the fire tech path was, you go to EMT school. But then it was very depressing. And I fell out of love with it. Have I ever thought about getting a blockchain? Yeah. I haven't though. I heard someone say you need to learn basic JavaScript before jumping into a framework like Angular. Can you explain that? Yeah. JavaScript works with JavaScript frameworks. Probably what they actually mean, because I wouldn't want you to work with a framework without getting going on like you should know JavaScript before you pick a framework up, but they're probably referring to like vanilla DOM manipulation, which, I mean, the only reason that you should manipulate the DOM with vanilla JavaScript is if you just want to be in pain. That's really it at the end of the day. To get your first job, you send a cover letter to every single one you apply to. You can. It's not going to hurt. What I would suggest is just having a template that you change a few things in and out of if you're going to do that. Would I recommend cracking the coding interview? Yes, but it's not a junior level book. It's definitely a senior level book. Like you read cracking the coding interview when you're ready to go work at like Google or Facebook or one of those very high end tech companies that are in like San Francisco. That's when you read it. You don't read it for your first junior level job. You can, but it's gonna be hard. It's not gonna hurt. It's a great book. It's gonna be a grind though. So be prepared to grind. Sorry, Jimmy. I'm not too familiar with launch school. How long when you first were coding until you got your dev job? I dropped out of college, and I studied every day while working a full-time job as a technical writer. And about 6 months before that, I was doing part-time when I was still in school and working like 2-3 jobs. But I'd say it was about 7-8 months. So at 7 months, I started applying. At 8.5 or so, I got a job of just grinding every single day. Is touching the DOM ever necessary? Yeah. You touch it all the time. What do you think all those like NG models and V models and all those all the Vue and Angular and React directives, what do you think those things are doing? And they're passing properties and they're removing things from all that is DOM manipulation, except it's a lot easier and less of a hassle than it ever was before. And you didn't have any experience coding before you dropped out of college? No, I was a computer science major. So I had maybe 7 or 8 actual coding related courses. I didn't have any experience in the only experience I had in web development in JavaScript was Codecademy Free Code Camp. You guess you're not entirely sure what the DOM is. So the DOM, if you want to think of the DOM, it's your window. It's called the document object model. So the DOM is everything you see in your browser page. That's it. And it has a lot of stuff that you can touch things and move things and like it. That's it. It's just elements on the web page. Yes, it's also Vin Diesel from Fast and the Furious. I like using Bootstrap to build a website. Is that good enough? I would tell you to get better, but that's just me. What do you personally find most aggravating about coding? The single most aggravating thing I find is how people aren't professionals. And what I mean by that is like I I've worked very hard to get to a certain skill level. And I've worked very hard to get to a point where I can get a job easily and I am proficient in my craft. And then people walk in for these interviews and they say, I don't really use for loops. Or they can't do FizzBuzz. And it is one of those things where it's so disappointing. It's absolutely disappointing. It hurts because I know how hard it was to get that first job and get going, and these people are just making a bad name for the rest of us. I'm not familiar with the Redux form library, but I'm all for good state management. Do I think one day most devs will get good as people get into it? No. Most people are lazy. I think it'll be the way it is now, where about you have maybe 2 out of 10 devs that are good and doing 80% of the work. It depends. Some organizations do. It's easy to find a bad place where all of a sudden everyone's fucking off because they're miserable and they no longer care about staying good, getting good. That's another thing. It's like it's not just getting good. You have to stay good. You have to continue to improve. How's the course? I'm working on it, man. I promise you, I'm working on it. It's a grind, though. Yeah. Yeah. So, what's the book Clean Code? It's about how to write software, essentially, about how to write software professionally. Is it normal that it took me 1 day to understand and solve basic JavaScript record collect? Absolutely. Everyone goes at their different pace. A lot of those algorithms took me days. Like no joke. When you're going through those algorithms, they're hard, man. You don't understand. You don't know what you don't know. Your brain hasn't rebuilt itself and reformatted to understand how to learn. You don't, just like anything else. Like no one comes out the womb knowing how to think like a dev, and you have to reprogram your brain a little bit to understand how to think and go do that. So yeah. Hey buddy. Are you doing one of those my year 4 analytics on YouTube this year? Yeah, definitely. Has it been a year? Is it about time? When was the I have to go review. I think it's in May if I remember. But yeah, I'll definitely do it. I plan on doing it every year. So I gotta go check when that is. I thought it was in May though. But yeah, it's gonna be a yearly thing. I got nothing to hide. April's currently doing a UI UX course right now. What percentage of devs that you know would say that you would say are self-taught? So 90% of devs would say they are self-taught because you have to be. Really, if you want to get good and you want to continue to learn. So some people, it depends what you define as self-taught, right? Some people may define self-taught as meaning that you didn't go to school to learn computer science, which isn't what that 90% is saying. But I would say about half, if I had to give a rough estimation, maybe a third, no, a quarter of developers who are actually self-taught, didn't go and get a CS degree or go to a boot camp. Is what I define it. I think IoT is going to continue to grow. I think blockchain has potential to grow, but is definitely slowed down. And I think progressive web apps are going to be something that you're going to see more and more of as devices get faster, as 5G rolls out. The need to maintain three separate code bases of iOS, Android, and web can just become one, the web, and that'll be it. Do database guys make bank? Yeah. Uh, in terms of a junior dev CSS proficiency, I think as long as you understand the fundamentals of the CSS box model, display and position properties, and then responsive design, I think that is acceptable. You should take your mobile dev internship. Things like React Native seem to lose steam around my place, and PWAs are getting popular. Yeah, I think so. PWAs are essentially the evolution of what these sort of hybrid apps are, because all it is a web app that has more native features that makes your web app better, and vice versa performs more like a native app. And so the only thing really holding it back, in my opinion, is Apple. But hey, buddy. By the way, if you want to help your boy feed this adorable cat, feel free to buy my courses in the description below, or or donate through fan funding. It is appreciated. Although I'll be honest, it's not going to go towards the cat. It's going to go towards the house to help me pay it off. But it's appreciated all the same. Ooh, kisses. Um, yeah. Cats need houses too. That's right. If you learn to make a PWA, you're gonna be a top of the line developer. Do you ever code while on the toilet? No, I don't have a laptop. People ask all the time, like, what's an impressive portfolio project? And I think building an actual PWA is. Should I learn JavaScript before jQuery? Yes. If you won $30 million lottery today, would you stop writing code? Probably for a little bit, but then I'd probably start a startup after I got done traveling. I'd probably travel and code. That'd be it. I enjoy coding, man. I know a lot of people don't. They just do it, and but I enjoy coding. Is free code camp algorithm certificate reflective interview level questions? So yeah, I'd say some of them. Some are much harder. Some, but that's like a decent range. I would say that the average one would be somewhere in that range. Am I still doing mentoring sessions? Yes. Uh, if anyone's interested, I do mentoring sessions. You can shoot me an email. They're an hour long. They cost $125. But yeah, whenever people are interested. Tito seems more cuddly than my other cats. So he's actually the one that's most afraid of strangers. But he's super cuddly. He's the only one that doesn't sleep with us every night. So Achilles and Milo sleeps with us every night. Tito does his own thing. But yeah, so like on the weekend I feel so bad because I have to actually throw him out of my lap all the time because I'm recording. Because like I'm sure you guys can hear him. You can like hear him purr. So that microphone picks it up as I like record videos, and so I have to give him the boot, and he sits on the futon over here, all upset every weekend. Um, is my Udemy JavaScript course meant for beginners? I would say yes. What is PWA? It stands for Progressive Web App. What that basically means is it's a series of technologies that you want to structure your web application around. So that's things like browser support. That's things like a responsive design, mobile first, and it's also native features and being able to. So there's a series of technologies that really Google has been pushing out that will allow you to actually add your web application to your phone, and it's much more than just a bookmark if you set it up right. So there's things like splash screens and loading icons and standalone mode, so you don't have the browser in there with you. um, Offline caching, service workers, so caching period in various ways depending on what strategy you implement. So these are all things that service workers give you, and are continuing to slowly roll out features. And what it allows, it makes a higher quality web app, and it also makes it run more like a mobile or native app would. Do I do portfolio reviews? Not really. I don't really have too much to say. I've done them in the past. How political are dev workplaces? I don't know. I don't really talk about politics. Would you do a group session for the same rate? I have a computer programming club. Uh, is it in Tampa? I just do it in person. I do it for free. If it's a classroom, I do it in person. I do it for free. If it's in the area, um, I try to give back to the community a little bit. All right. It's in Canada. Oh yeah. Shoot me a message, man. I definitely will do it for the same rate. If you catch me on a good day, I'll do it for free. Can we see Dolan sometime? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe there'd be a Dolan sketch coming soon, huh, buddy? Have I done any PWA work? Yeah. All the things I just talked about, I've implemented. That was one of my first tasks at my current job. Was to integrate a manifest file, make it Safari compliant, add a service worker, add caching, um, yeah, all that stuff. Who did I kill? What? When April and I both worked with cats finding their own? Yeah, man, they're cats. April and I both work with the dog and the cats. So, we when we get home, we give them the love and attention and feed them and all that good stuff. Um, Did I kill Dolan? Dolan's a piece of you. All right. We all got a little bit of Dolan in us, and no matter how much we want to prevent, like we got rid of him. It just takes one bad day for Dolan to come back around. Huh? Oh, will you ticklish? If a company gives a job offer, then rescinds it, and then offers the job again, would you say that is a red flag? Reason for rescinding is because the guy who left the job wanted his job back. Um, I would say that I would say it's a red flag and that it's something concerning. What annoying thing in front end dev? Internet Explorer. Do hackathons make a good resume contribution? Yeah. So I to this day have a hackathon project that I thought was really cool that we made on my resume. We didn't win. Um, we didn't win anything. But I put it on there because I think it's. Ow! What are you doing? Okay, God. He's like, stop fucking with my foot. Uh, but I think it's great because it shows that you can collaborate with a team. It can show what you can do in a set amount of time. So, yeah. IE doesn't support CSS Grid. How do you get around that? I don't support IE. It's 2019, and you shouldn't either. I ask in interviews if I have to support IE. I'm not bullshitting. I won't take a job. They offered me 140K to go work at this fucking military company. I asked, do I have to support IE? Well, you know, it's government. We have to sort. I was like, so I'm not interested. look, look. Most companies don't even have any users on IE. If you do have users and you have to support IE, I feel bad for you. I understand, but it ain't gonna work with me. So, how do I approach Agile / Scrum workflow? Well, one thing you could do is go get a certification in Scrum, and just sort of learn. But the truth of the matter is, probably any place you go is going to have a their own sort of approach to it, because really all it's going to be is a lot of failures. Like a lot of companies, uh, a lot of companies don't do agile very well, and so just be open, follow what everyone else does, and then as you get comfortable in their workflow, do a little bit of research on your own about how it should actually be done. Yeah, jQuery is used. It's just used in legacy applications. Ooh. Yeah. jQuery is just slowly decreasing. It's all right. It's just used by legacy applications. That's the only deal. jQuery is used in legacy applications and people who want to do HTTP calls in a video easily. That's the only other time that it's used. Yeah. But all right, guys. It's about time to call it. I appreciate you all as always. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share the videos as you enjoy them and watch them. It's always appreciated. It helps the channel grow. And I've been I'm going to go back up to 2 videos a week like I've done in the past, and this was the first week, so I hope you like that. I think I'm going to do a little bit more of those small 5-minute front end projects. I got a couple animation ones, and I think I'll do one on like just making a modal easily. And I got some toast and things like that. I'm just going to make some components in vanilla JavaScript, HTML, CSS for you. So I've been enjoying that a little bit. So more content to come. If you're interested in any of my courses, they're in the description below. You can get them for 10, 15 bucks, whatever the coupon code gets you. It's going to hook you up with the best. God, man, people are just so rude over the internet. Anyhow, so thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time.